The first light of the orbital station's sun swept through the observation dome, soft and golden, painting the room in warm colors. Doctor. Eli Renner blinked, trying to remember how he had ended up lying in a neatly made bed. The blankets smelled faintly of lavender, a scent not typical of a research station. He squinted at the unfamiliar walls, the panels of glass showing the blue curve of the planet below, spinning silently in space. Eli sat up, rubbing his temples. His mind was foggy. Nothing from the previous night felt real. A soft whirring sound hummed in the background, coming from a small hovering drone that floated near the ceiling. It blinked, once, in recognition, as he moved. "Good morning, Dr. Renner," it said in a polite, digital tone. "Your vitals are normal. Sleep quality, optimal. Yesterday's experiment logs are ready for review." Eli groaned. I don't remember going to bed," he muttered to himself, trying to push the fog from his mind. Or doing anything, really. The door slid open gently with a soft hiss. Leora stepped in, her dark hair pulled into a tidy braid, her eyes sparkling with amusement. She carried a small tray of breakfast items, fresh fruit, a warm beverage, and some soft bread. Her presence was calming, though Eli felt a mixture of embarrassment and curiosity. "You're awake," she said, setting the tray on the bedside table. "I was starting to wonder if the cognitive enhancement field had made you disappear entirely." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Cognitive enhancement field? Wait, what happened last night?" He looked down at himself, noticing immediately that he was wearing only his undershirt and boxers. "And where are my clothes?" Leora chuckled, a soft, melodic sound that echoed lightly in the room. "You were exhausted, Eli. I got you into bed. Don't worry about the rest. Your clothes are being kept safe for now." She gestured toward a small, neatly closed storage compartment. "I didn't want you to trip over your own socks while you were half asleep." Eli blinked at her, both incredulous and amused. "You got me into bed? Really? I must have been a mess." He laughed nervously, running a hand through his hair. The memory of last night was a blank wall. "You were," Leora admitted, sitting on the edge of the bed. "But in a good way. Safe. Nothing dangerous. Just exhausted from working on the neural interface experiment all evening. You didn't even protest when the AI offered you a sleep protocol." Eli frowned, trying to recall any detail. His mind was blank. The room, the station, the faint scent of lavender, Leora's gentle voice, all of it felt real, but the memory was missing. "I don't remember anything," he said finally. "Not even drinking water or talking to anyone." Leora smiled softly. "That's all right. That's exactly why I stayed with you until you fell asleep. You need rest more than you need a memory of the night. Besides, it's kind of funny, don't you think?" Eli hesitated, then chuckled. "It is strange. I wake up in a strange bed, no memory, and someone is telling me they tucked me in. And my first question is about clothes." "That's very human," Leora said with a teasing grin. "Comfort is important, especially for humans, apparently." The drone floated closer, projecting a holographic display between them. "Dr. Renner, I recommend reviewing the previous evening's experimental parameters. Memory gaps can occur due to minor cognitive field interference, but your health indicators are perfect." The neural interface showed excellent calibration results. Eli squinted at the display. Neural interface? Cognitive field interference? The words sounded impressive, but his brain refused to form a picture of what he had actually done. Leora leaned over, pointing at a line on the graph. "See this? That spike here? That's the moment your synaptic activity increased beyond normal levels. The system boosted your perception, but memory recall sometimes lags after such spikes." Eli frowned, then laughed. "So, I got superhuman for a while, and forgot it immediately afterward? Leora laughed with him, shaking her head. Not superhuman, just human doing human things in unusual circumstances, and a little bit clever. That's the enhancement. Eli sat up straighter, curiosity winning over confusion. Clever? That sounds like the AI, trying to make me feel good about myself. Maybe, Leora admitted. But also true. You solved problems in the lab last night that we had been puzzling over for weeks. It was impressive. Eli leaned back against the pillows, feeling a mixture of pride and embarrassment. And I don't remember any of it. Great. Leora smiled, brushing a stray hair from her face. Memory isn't everything. Action counts more. And your actions were very human. You laughed, you improvised. You stayed calm when unexpected variables appeared. That's why I wanted to make sure you got to bed safely. Eli's mind began to clear slightly, and he could imagine the events. Him, frowning at graphs, moving between equipment, perhaps muttering under his breath, trying to make sense of something complicated. And then, Leora had appeared to guide him to bed. All right, he said finally, taking a bite of the soft bread. But my clothes. He gestured vaguely at the compartment across the room. They're fine, Leora said lightly. The AI moved them to a temporary storage to prevent accidental damage, or loss. You can get them after breakfast. No rush. Eli nodded, trying to focus on the fruit. The sweetness was normal, comforting, grounding him in the present. He looked out the observation dome at the planet below, a swirl of clouds and oceans. Everything was quiet, perfect, and strangely reassuring. So, what now? He asked. Finally. Now. Leora's eyes twinkled. Now we figure out what happened. And maybe we laugh a little while doing it. Now. Eli smiled. For the first time since waking, he felt a spark of excitement. The mystery of last night was gone from memory, but the present was full of potential. He could explore, investigate, and discover. And he wasn't alone. Leora was there, ready to share the adventure. They finished breakfast together, talking in soft, easy conversation. Leora explained small details about the station's systems, the ongoing experiments, and the minor quirks of the AI. Eli listened, fascinated, letting the normalcy of routine wrap around him like a blanket. But in the back of his mind, a question lingered. What did I actually do last night? The question wasn't urgent, but it was persistent. Eli felt a smile tug at his lips. One thing was certain. Whatever happened, humans always found a way to navigate the unknown, even when memory failed them. And apparently, they did it with humor and cooperation. After breakfast, Leora helped him stand and stretch. The room felt larger now, the equipment humming quietly around them. Shall we start retracing your steps? She asked. Eli nodded. Yes. And maybe, this time, I'll try to remember more. Together, they moved toward the lab, stepping carefully across the polished floor. The sunlight from the dome glinted off the surfaces, highlighting the strange, beautiful patterns of machinery and holographic interfaces. Eli marveled at the subtle beauty of the station. It was more than just a workplace, it was a testament to human ingenuity. As they entered the lab, Eli noticed small oddities. A tool slightly out of place. A notebook open to a page he didn't remember writing. A faint smell of something floral that wasn't part of any experiment. Leora raised an eyebrow. Looks like someone or something was active here after hours. Eli grinned. Hopefully, it wasn't me. Sleepwalking. Leora laughed, shaking her head. Maybe. But I have a feeling the station itself is trying to teach us something. Humans adapt, explore, solve problems, and we do it even when the path isn't clear. That's why I think we're going to find answers and have fun along the way. Eli looked around the lab, then back at Leora. She was smiling, confident, and somehow completely trustworthy. He felt a rush of admiration for her, for the station, for the human spirit that always pushed forward. "All right," he said, finally, a grin spreading across his face. "Let's see what mysteries we left behind last night." The lab hummed quietly, waiting. Outside, the planet spun silently in its orbit. And inside, humans were about to remind the universe, through curiosity, laughter, and cleverness, that even in the vast unknown, they belonged. Eli and Leora moved through the lab, their footsteps soft against the polished floor. The hum of the station's machinery was constant, a gentle reminder of life aboard this orbital research facility. Sunlight streamed through the tall observation windows, casting shadows that shifted slowly across the room. For Eli, everything felt familiar yet strangely new, like stepping into a memory he couldn't quite recall. "So," Eli said, glancing at the equipment, "you said last night I solved some problems. Which ones, exactly?" Leora pointed to a cluster of instruments near the main console. "These," she said. "We've been trying to optimize the neural interface algorithm for weeks. Every time we tested it, the results were inconsistent. But last night, well, you adjusted the calibration without even looking at the manual." Eli scratched his head. "I have no memory of that. Are you sure it was me?" Leora smiled. "Yes. The logs show your interactions clearly. Look here, timestamps, input commands, even your vocal comments." She waved toward the small holographic display floating in the air. "Everything matches. You improvise solutions no one else thought of. That's why I found you asleep on the bed instead of still in the lab." Eli leaned in, studying the display. The graphs showed small spikes of activity, some erratic, others steady. "So, I was brilliant in my sleep?" he joked. "You could say that," Leora said, laughing. "Or brilliant, under cognitive enhancement, influence. Either way, human adaptability is impressive." Eli frowned, curiosity pushing aside embarrassment. "Cognitive enhancement? You mean that spike the AI mentioned? What exactly happened?" Leora adjusted a small tablet in her hands, bringing up another set of graphs. The neural interface experiment triggered a temporary cognitive field. It boosted memory processing, pattern recognition, and problem-solving speed. But it can scramble trivial memories for a short while, like how you don't remember getting into bed. Eli shook his head, a mix of awe and amusement. "So, I basically had a super brain for a few hours and forgot everything? And you were the babysitter?" "Exactly," Leora said, tilting her head. "But it's more than that. Look around." She gestured at the room. "Notice anything unusual?" Eli scanned the lab carefully. Most equipment seemed in its proper place, but a few tools were slightly out of alignment. Notebooks opened to blank pages, and some samples on the table were rearranged. A faint, floral-like scent lingered in the air, though none of the chemicals in the lab produced it. "You're right," Eli said slowly. "Some things don't belong. The tools, the samples, and this smell. It's like someone or something was here after I left." Leora nodded. "Exactly. And it's not random. The station itself seems to be interacting with us, adjusting the environment based on what we do, learning from our actions. It's subtle, but the changes are consistent." Eli raised an eyebrow. "The station?" "In a way," Leora said. "Not conscious like a human, but adaptive. It responds to behavior, optimizes for comfort, efficiency, and even safety. Like putting you in bed when you were too tired to move safely. Eli laughed. I should have thanked the AI for the pajamas then. Leora grinned. It did better than that. It ensured your clothes were protected, your vitals monitored, and even brewed breakfast in a way that suited your sleep-deprived state. Humans are predictable in small ways, and the station takes advantage of that. Eli shook his head, fascinated. So everything last night, the missing memory, the odd smells, the rearranged tools, could be the station experimenting on us? Not experimenting, exactly, Leora said. Learning, adapting. Humans are clever, but the environment can be clever too. And when both work together, interesting things happen. Eli wandered over to one of the workstations. A small holographic panel displayed the movements of instruments and drones over the past 12 hours. Look at this, he said, pointing. See how some tools moved slightly between tests? And the samples? They're arranged in a pattern that wasn't there before. So, that's exactly what I mean, Leora said. It's subtle, but deliberate. The station is learning from our habits. It's improving efficiency, without us even asking. Eli smiled, a mixture of wonder and amusement. Humans create technology to help humans, and now, the technology is helping humans in ways we didn't even design. Exactly, Leora said softly. And that's the beauty of it. Humans adapt, we explore, we improvise. And when technology is built to support that, the results are surprising. Eli leaned back, still studying the displays. So last night, maybe I wasn't asleep at all. Maybe I was just part of the system. Moving, reacting, adjusting, like the station was a partner in the experiment. Maybe, Leora said, watching him closely. But notice something important. Even with the cognitive field messing with your memory, you still performed brilliantly. You solved problems, adapted to changes, and acted intuitively. That's human nature. That's what makes humans remarkable. Eli paused, considering her words. So, even when we don't remember, our instincts, creativity, and cooperation shine through. Leora smiled. Exactly. And that's why I love working with humans. No matter the challenges, we find solutions. Even if it's just figuring out where missing socks, or in your case, clothes, ended up. Eli chuckled. You make it sound like an art form. But it's true. Even small things show human cleverness. They walked further into the lab, checking equipment and scanning the holographic logs. Each workstation showed subtle patterns of adaptation. Automated arms, adjusting samples slightly. Drones repositioning instruments. Lighting, adjusting to human focus. The station was alive in its own quiet, methodical way. This is amazing, Eli said, his voice full of awe. We're part of something bigger than just experiments. The station isn't just a workplace, it's learning with us. And learning from us, Leora added. The combination is powerful. Humans bring curiosity, creativity, humor, and adaptability. The station brings precision, observation, and support. Together, we can discover things no one could alone. Eli paused at one of the lab tables, noticing a notebook open to a page filled with diagrams he didn't remember drawing. Wait. These are my sketches, aren't they? Some of them, Leora said. Some are generated by the AI based on your movements and interactions. It's trying to anticipate your thinking, to help you work more efficiently. Eli leaned back, amazed. So it's collaborating with me? Exactly, Leora said. It doesn't just follow instructions. It responds, learns, and adapts. Humans do the same. And last night, you two were working as a team, even without realizing it. Eli smiled, a warm, proud feeling spreading through him. The memory of confusion and missing clothes now felt like a small, humorous detail in the middle of a much larger adventure. And to think, he said, I woke up worried about missing clothes. Leora laughed softly. It's okay. Humans notice small things first. That's part of our charm. Eli shook his head, still grinning. Charm, cleverness, curiosity. Maybe that's what makes us human. Not perfection, but the way we navigate the unknown. Leora nodded. Exactly. And this station, this experiment, it shows it perfectly. Even when memory fails, or things seem strange, humans find a way to adapt, solve problems, and even enjoy themselves along the way. Eli glanced out the observation dome. The planet below spun slowly, clouds drifting across oceans, sunlight glinting off the ice caps. I wonder, he said thoughtfully, what other surprises are waiting for us on this station? Leora followed his gaze, a smile tugging at her lips. Plenty. And I think we'll find them together. Humans are never short of curiosity. And this station seems to know that. Eli turned back to the lab, feeling energized, excited, and more awake than ever. The memory of last night was missing, but the thrill of discovery, the subtle humor, and the satisfaction of understanding something new were all present. That was enough. All right, Eli said finally, straightening his shoulders. Let's see what other mysteries this station has for us. And maybe, just maybe, figure out where my clothes ended up. Leora laughed, standing beside him. One mystery at a time. The station seems to enjoy surprising us. And with that, they began to explore, step by step, the quiet, humming corridors of the lab. Every tool, every instrument, every subtle movement of drones and displays was a puzzle. And together, they would solve it. Humans always did. Outside, the planet continued its silent orbit. Inside, two humans laughed, discovered, and marveled at the cleverness of their own species and the curious intelligence of a station that mirrored them. The station was quiet, except for the soft hum of machinery and the faint whirring of drones moving between workstations. Eli walked beside Leora, feeling a strange sense of wonder. Every step they took seemed to reveal something new. A tool slightly repositioned, a holographic display flickering with subtle changes, or a sample container that had shifted its angle. It was as if the station itself was alive, watching, learning, and responding to them. Do you ever get the feeling, Eli asked, that the station knows more than we do? Leora chuckled. I'd say it knows exactly what we do, and sometimes, what we will do next. It adapts to our actions. That's why last night went so smoothly, even if you don't remember it. Eli frowned, still puzzled by the missing memories. I understand the cognitive field enhanced my abilities, but how much of what I did was me? And how much was the station guiding me? That's the fun part, Leora said, her eyes sparkling. It's impossible to separate. Humans and machines are working together, and the results are unpredictable. In the best way. Eli paused, thinking about the small discoveries they had already made. The station's subtle rearrangements, the AI's anticipatory actions, even the careful placement of his missing clothes, it was all part of a system designed to enhance human problem-solving. And yet, each time he looked at the displays, he realized there was more to learn. They approached the main console, where a large holographic panel floated in the air, showing data from the previous night. The screen pulsed softly, highlighting patterns of movement, energy spikes, and neural activity. Eli leaned closer. Look at this, he said. These patterns. They're not random. They're almost like thought maps. Exactly, Leora said. The station tracks your actions, decisions, and even micro-movements. Then, it uses that data to predict how humans will behave in similar situations. It's not perfect, but it's impressive. Eli's eyes widened. So, the station is learning human behavior? In real time? Yes, Leora said. And it's improving its support. That's why last night, when your memory failed, it guided you safely to bed, ensured your comfort, and even arranged breakfast perfectly. It's adapting to human unpredictability. Eli shook his head in amazement. Humans create technology to serve us. But this is different. It's like we're partners. Exactly, Leora said softly. And the best part? Humans are flexible. We improvise. We explore. And the station adapts to that. Together, we can achieve things neither could alone. Eli leaned back, absorbing the information. So, the cognitive enhancement field wasn't just about boosting my brain. It was about showing how humans and technology can work as a team? That's one way to look at it, Leora said. But it also shows something deeper. Even when memory fails, humans adapt. Even when the path is unclear, humans find solutions. That's why we're remarkable. Eli felt a rush of pride. Even though he couldn't remember his actions from the night before, the results were undeniable. He had improvised, solved problems, and adapted to unexpected variables. And the station had supported him every step of the way. He turned back to the holographic display. These energy fluctuations. Are they dangerous? Not at all, Leora said. Minor spikes like these are expected in neural enhancement experiments. They can temporarily boost cognitive abilities, which sometimes scrambles trivial memories. But health indicators are perfect. The system ensures safety first. Eli nodded, feeling reassured. And yet, I feel like we barely scratched the surface. The station is doing so much more than just observing. It's interacting with us. That's the point, Leora said. It's learning, adapting, and helping us become better problem solvers, and we're learning how to work with it. That's why I wanted to retrace your steps so we can see exactly how humans respond under these conditions. Eli studied the lab, noticing subtle patterns he hadn't seen before. A sample container had rotated slightly, aligning with a holographic grid. A drone hovered near an instrument, adjusting its angle to make Eli's work easier. Even the lights seemed to dim or brighten depending on where he was focusing. It's incredible, he said. It's like the station knows me. Not just you, Leora said. All humans who work here. It observes behavior, learns preferences, and adapts. But the beauty is, it can't predict creativity. That's all human. Eli smiled. Creativity, curiosity, improvisation. Humans really are remarkable. And the station helps bring that out. They moved to another workstation, where small holographic images of the lab floated above a console. Eli noticed that the AI had logged micro-decisions, how he moved tools, the order he examined samples, even the pauses he took to think. Look at this, he said. It's like a map of my thought process. Yes, Leora said. And that's exactly the point. The station is learning from your process, so it can support you better next time. It's adaptive teaching, guided by observation. Eli leaned back, thinking about the night before. Even without memory, he had solved problems, navigated the lab safely, and performed at his best. The station had ensured everything ran smoothly, but it had also allowed him to explore, experiment, and make choices. It's amazing, he said softly. Even when memory fails, humans adapt. Even when the environment changes, humans find solutions. That's really human. It's a memory fails, up to the class. It's amazing. Humans adapt. It's amazing. Leora smiled. Exactly. That's why I love this work. It's not just about experiments or data. It's about understanding how humans think, learn, and grow. And the station is the perfect partner. Eli felt a warm sense of pride and connection. He realized that even without recalling last night's events, he had contributed to something bigger than himself. The station was learning from humans, but humans were also learning from the station. It was a cycle of growth, collaboration, and discovery. "All right," Eli said finally, straightening his shoulders. "What's next? Do we test the station's adaptive behavior further?" "That's the plan," Leora said, her eyes twinkling. "We'll introduce minor changes, see how it responds, and observe our own behavior. The goal isn't just to test technology, it's to understand human ingenuity in real time." Eli nodded, feeling energized. "I like that. Let's start with something small. Maybe rearrange a few tools and see if the station adjusts." Leora grinned. "Perfect. Small changes, big insights. That's how humans learn and teach." They spent the next hour experimenting with minor adjustments, rotating sample containers, moving tools, even shifting holographic displays. Each time, the station responded immediately. Drones repositioned themselves, lights adjusted, and subtle recalibrations appeared on the screens. Eli laughed every time the system anticipated his next move, yet still left room for human creativity. "This is incredible," he said, marveling at the collaboration. "We're learning about the station, and the station is learning about us. And somehow, even without remembering, we're part of something amazing." "Exactly," Leora said. "It's a partnership. Technology amplifies human potential. Humans provide creativity and problem-solving. Together, we discover more than we ever could alone." Eli paused, glancing at the small compartment where his clothes had been kept. "You know, this is all amazing, but I'd really like my clothes back now." Leora laughed softly. "Patience. That's another lesson. Humans adapt, wait, and improvise. Besides, the station likes to remind us of the little joys of life, even clothing retrieval." Eli shook his head, smiling. He realized that every moment of confusion, every missing memory, and every surprise had led to something far greater. A deeper understanding of human ingenuity, collaboration, and adaptability. The station had been more than a tool, it had been a partner, gently guiding, supporting, and learning alongside them. As they finished their experiments, Eli felt a sense of calm confidence. Memory or no memory, humans could navigate challenges, adapt to surprises, and work together to achieve extraordinary results. The station had shown him that even when the path was unclear, human creativity and curiosity would always find a way forward. "All right," Eli said finally, stretching. "I think we've learned enough for today. Let's review the data, and maybe finally get my clothes." Leora laughed, standing beside him. "One mystery at a time. But yes, humans and stations both need a little rest before the next adventure." Eli nodded, feeling a warm sense of pride and anticipation. The memory of last night was still missing, but he understood something far more important. Humans were clever, curious, and endlessly adaptable. And with the right partners, human or machine, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The lab hummed softly, alive with quiet intelligence and gentle lights. Outside, the planet spun, silently in space. Inside, two humans explored, discovered, and marveled at the power of ingenuity, curiosity, and collaboration. And even without perfect memory, they knew one thing for sure. Humans always found a way. Eli stretched, feeling a pleasant tiredness after hours of exploring the lab and observing the station's subtle behaviors. The memory of last night was still a blank space in his mind, but he had learned something far more important. Humans were clever, adaptable, and capable of amazing problem-solving, even when their memories failed. "All right," he said, turning to Leora. "I think we've tested the station enough for today. But there's one very important thing left." Leora raised an eyebrow. "My clothes," Eli said, pointing toward the compartment where the AI had stored them. "I can handle the mysteries of cognition and adaptive environments, but I can't handle going around in undershirts and boxers forever." Leora laughed, shaking her head. "Fair enough. The station has been cooperative so far. Let's see if it enjoys this small request." They approached the storage compartment together. Eli pressed a panel, and with a soft click, the AI released the clothing inside. Eli picked up his neatly folded clothes, holding them as though they were treasure. "Ah, home at last," he said with a grin. The AI's voice hummed gently in the background. Clothing retrieval completed. Human satisfaction indicators rising. Happiness levels optimal. ASA. Clothing. Eli chuckled. Even the AI is celebrating. Leora smiled. "See? Humans adapt, machines adapt, and together, we get perfect results. That's what this whole experiment is about." Eli dressed quickly, feeling comforted by the familiar textures. "You know," he said, "I think last night's missing memory is almost better than remembering. It forced me to explore the station and learn in ways I wouldn't have if I had known everything." "Exactly," Leora said. "Memory is useful, but curiosity, creativity, and problem-solving, that's what matters. The station amplifies that. It's not just about remembering. It's about acting intelligently in real time." Eli looked around the lab, noticing small changes he had overlooked before. Tools were neatly aligned, lights subtly adjusted, and drones hovered in precise positions. The station had learned from them, adapting to their habits, and even anticipating needs. It was as if the environment itself had a personality, gentle, intelligent, and helpful. "You know," Eli said, "I think the station enjoys our curiosity. Every time we make a small change, it adapts. Every time we improvise, it responds. It's like a dance." Leora nodded. "Yes, humans and technology, moving together. You create patterns, the station responds. And together we discover things neither could alone. That's why last night worked so well, even if you don't remember it." Eli smiled. "It's comforting, in a way. Even if I forget something, I know humans can adapt, and we're clever enough to keep learning. That's very human." Leora's eyes twinkled. "Exactly. And that's why I love working here. You never know what small surprises the station will give us, and humans always rise to the occasion." Eli paused, considering something. "Do you think the station understands us the way we understand it?" "Not completely," Leora said. "It doesn't have consciousness like humans, but it observes, adapts, and responds. It learns from our behavior and uses that knowledge to support us. In a way, it's learning how humans learn, which is fascinating." Eli nodded. "So, it's a mirror, a reflection of human cleverness." 5. "Yes," Leora agreed. "And together, we can explore, experiment, and discover new things without fear, without harm, just curiosity and intelligence guiding us." Eli walked to the observation dome, looking down at the planet spinning silently below. The oceans sparkled, clouds drifted gracefully, and the sunlight reflected off icy caps. It was serene, beautiful, and full of possibilities. He realized that while memory could fail, humans always found a way forward through ingenuity, cooperation, and curiosity. Leora joined him at the dome, carrying a small tablet with the experiment data. "We can review everything now," she said. "See the patterns, understand the responses, and plan our next steps." Eli nodded. I like that. But first, let's appreciate what we've discovered. Not just about the station, but about humans. Leora smiled. Agreed. Humans are remarkable. We adapt, we improvise, we solve problems, and we find joy even in small things like missing clothes. Eli laughed. I'm definitely going to remember that part. They spent the next hour reviewing the data. The neural interface logs, energy fluctuations, and adaptive responses all pointed to one conclusion: humans were clever beyond measure. Memory gaps, unusual stimuli, or unexpected changes could not stop them from finding solutions. The station's adaptations had amplified their natural ingenuity, but it was still the human mind, curious, resilient, and creative, that led the way. Eli leaned back in his chair, feeling a sense of awe. Even when the memory fails, humans can innovate. Even when the path is unclear, humans find solutions. That's really something. And that's why we're here, Leora said softly. To understand humans, to learn from ourselves, and to explore the unknown. Together. Eli glanced at the small compartment where the AI had stored his clothes. You know, he said with a grin, I think the AI wanted to remind me that life is full of small mysteries. Missing clothes, rearranged tools, little surprises that teach us patience and humor. Leora laughed. Exactly. And humans learn to adapt, improvise, and enjoy the process. That's why I think this station and its technology are perfect for us. Eli nodded. Humans, clever, curious, resilient. Technology, intelligent, adaptive, supportive. Together, we can achieve amazing things. Leora smiled. Exactly. And now that your clothes are back, you can fully appreciate the experience. Eli chuckled. Yes, I think I will. He paused, looking at the planet below. I wonder what other surprises this station has for us. And I know we'll find them, because humans always do. Leora joined him in looking out the dome, the hum of the station surrounding them like a gentle heartbeat. And no matter what, she said, we'll explore, experiment, and learn. Together. Eli felt a warm sense of satisfaction. Memory could fail, experiments could surprise, and mysteries could remain unsolved, but humans always adapted. They learned, they created, they explored. And with the right partners, both human and machine, they could navigate any challenge. All right, Eli said finally, standing tall. Let's plan our next experiment. And maybe see what other small surprises the station has in store for us. Leora smiled, her eyes twinkling. Perfect. Humans and machines, learning together. Let's see what discoveries await. The station hummed quietly, alive with intelligence, subtle movements, and adaptive responses. Outside, the planet continued its silent orbit. Inside, two humans marveled at their own ingenuity, the cleverness of technology, and the endless possibilities of collaboration. And for the first time that day, Eli laughed freely, the memory of missing clothes fading into a small, funny detail of a much larger adventure. Humans always found a way. They always adapted. And together with curiosity, creativity, and gentle intelligence, they could explore the unknown and discover wonders beyond imagination. The sun reflected off the planet, casting warm light into the lab. Tools gleamed, drones hovered gracefully, and the station's adaptive systems responded subtly to their movements. Everything was alive, intelligent, and in harmony with human curiosity. Eli turned to Leora, smiling. Always, she said. Humans and machines, learning together. Let's see what's next. And so, they began again, step by step, experiment by experiment. discovering the beauty of human ingenuity, the power of collaboration, and the joy of curiosity in a universe full of endless possibilities.